Well, he is trying to connect entrepreneurs looking for new business opportunities. Former CEO of Dunkin' Brands, John Luther, is going to be back with us. Well, after 20 years in Washington, D.C., the International Franchise Expo is heading to New York City for the first time this weekend, hoping to connect entrepreneurs with new business opportunities. Joining me now for this week's Small Business Big Ideas, John Luther, the former CEO of Dunkin' Brands and now president of the International Franchise Association. John, it's great to finally meet you in person, by the way.
Likewise. We've done a few remotes, so nice to be here.
It's nice to have you. And you've done a lot. Well, you did a lot with the franchising setup for Dunkin' Brands, but now you're running the Franchise Association. Is this, do you think, in your opinion, going to be a big job creator, this Javits Center event that you're having this week?
Yeah, it's great that you mentioned that, because people forget that small detail about franchising, that it creates a huge amount of jobs and it's a great economic contributor. This week we have the IFA here for 3 days, first time in New York. Over 10,000 people will be attending, looking for opportunities in franchising.
What types of businesses are going to be there? I find in franchise there's a lot. It seems to be a lot of food companies that end up doing this.
And of course, that's my relationship, right? It's always been in the restaurant side of it. But there are many categories of franchising, including hotels and commercial services, business services, home services, healthcare services, a number of franchisors. There are probably only about 40% of franchising is restaurants. The balance of it is all of the other types of franchise opportunities. So it's a terrific job generator, but also a future for the American dream as well.
There's been a lot of initiatives for veterans, getting veterans back to work, and a lot of the franchise companies have been offering extra help with financing to veterans to get them back on their feet, open up new franchises. You learned this at Dunkin', that it's very difficult to get financing. How is that changing now?
Well, the financing part for veterans is an interesting phenomenon. We applaud and love the veterans coming home. And the IFA has created VetFran. And today, that started about a year ago, the activity around that, over 4,200 veterans are now involved in franchising. And it's because the franchisors have provided some financial incentives to make it easier for them to get in. But what we also did is, about 2 years ago, the IFA created what we call the Small Business Lending Summit. And what we did is we married bankers, franchisors, and franchisees together to educate both of us, all three of us rather, that in how to apply for a loan and get good credit. Bankers now believe that the franchising lending area is a safer area because less risk. You're not in business for yourself, or you're in business for yourself, but not alone. And so as a result, there's a higher success rate in franchising. Also, the franchisors have to prepare their franchisees in how to apply for bank loans. It's not like the old days. There's lots of requirements. And the other thing is, we brought in the SBA, and Karen Mills's team has done wonderful work for us to sort of put all that together. And now we're seeing an increase in lending. Not where we want it to be, but a great increase over prior year.
We all know very well that small businesses are the job creators in this nation. Certainly. But at the same time, small businesses are concerned about demand. They're concerned about opening up new franchisees, new pilot programs, anything that you will, because of the current economic environment. What do you tell those that are nervous about the economy overall and they don't really want to make this kind of step?
Well, it's the hard part, because with all this uncertainty, with all of the regulations that bankers and reserves are required, they're being far more scrutinous over who is going to be a good credit. So we've involved a number of folks through the IFA, and franchisors are working with these lenders to get some preferred lending environments.
Do you think it's getting better, John, really?
Marginally better, a lot better than 2011. 2012, people are thinking that the current business is good and indicators are good, but there's still uncertainty. It's not all the way yet.
You have been at this for a long time. If I can say, you were CEO, actively CEO of Dunkin' Brands from 2003 to 2010, then Nigel came in. If you were to step into a new role today as a CEO in this country, would you do anything different now that you didn't do in 2003?
Certainly. With the economic environment the way it is, you have to think long and hard when you select franchisees to make sure that they're prepared, much better prepared than they were in the past. The other thing is that you also want to make sure that technology becomes an important part of how you go forward in any franchise or any business environment. And supply chain now has become far more critical in the light of commodity costs and other issues, particularly in the restaurant side. So I said to somebody a while ago, I said 10 years ago, technology and supply chain wouldn't be in the top 10 challenges. Today, they're the top 2. So you have to be better prepared in those areas as you go forward.
John Luther, you have a lot to teach those kids today and the next 3 days out at the Javits Center. It's really nice to have you here.
All right, thanks for having me.
All right,
Great
John
to see
Luther.
you.
All right, Dennis, over to you.
Okay, are Europe's